there, comic friends. I'm Travis. Time for another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that don't have to do with superheroes. This is books for the week of November 19th, 2014. In no particular order, we'll talk Revival, issue number 25. Not such an exciting cover. I don't even know if that's a Kelly. Oh, it is a Jenny. It is a Jenny Friesen cover. Yeah, not much to it. But anyway, most of the covers are amazing. Still really digging this. Digging this story. More wrinkles, more complications. Some solidified answers here along the way. But heavily serialized. Continue to say it's Twin Peaks-like in just how odd it is and the odd characters that keep recurring and showing up and just how quirky everything is and I'm liking every bit of it. Not going to talk about it in great detail because it's one of those kind of things you just got to be reading a lot of it, but I'm still really enjoying it. The art's still solid in it, and the twist that's at the end of this, the people are going to have to work together considering their history, is going to just be really fascinating. And there's plenty of really, serious complications. Yeah, no way for me to really talk about this without spoiling a bunch of it. So we'll kind of leave it at that. I'm still really enjoying it. I think it's really rock solid, and an interesting story with great art and great characters. Deadly Class, issue number 9. Here we are in 1988. I love this issue. This issue mostly delivers to us some back history of Maria, basically. Is a large chunk of this. The artwork is incredible. Wes Craig, just his paneling work, his action is absolutely fabulous. The colorist on this, who is Lagrange? Oh, hell. Lee Luridge does just an amazing job. His colors are so dynamic, and so we get this slice of life kind of a thing here. The love triangle that's going on gets a little more complicated in this. I guess one of the things I really love about this is there's pieces of this that remind me of my youth in the 80s. Our main character ends up going out to a club and gets introduced to moshing and all of that. And I'm an old guy. It's all part of my youth, and so that part was really great. But I also like the whole conversation they have about him trying to learn something about her and their complex relationship and the plan they have going forward to deal with the arch villain in this, whose name is Fuckface. It's just absolutely fabulous. The stuff that happens at the very end, I figure we knew was coming. It just complicates everybody's life all that much more, and yeah, it's just crazy. I really want this page, just because of the moshing on it. I mean, it's probably not the strongest page of the guy's work, but I really want it. But there's some other art in here that is just the paneling, the action, the colors. They're just amazing. Just a great book. Absolutely still loving it. Remender on all these writing all these independent books that he is. They all have their own thing, and they're all so really cool. And excited to be reading it. Excited that by this artist. He's got his own style. He's got his own way of movement and panels. It's an amazing thing about Rick Remender on the 3 books that he's working on right now, that he's writing. With Deadly Class, you've got Wes Craig and his dynamic style of how his pacing with the panels and whatnot. And of course, you have Black Science with Scalero and drawing a blank on the colorist's name, who does the painted colors. So it's dynamic. It has its own feel to it because of that. And then, of course, with Low, with Tanichi, his art, his painting style, his way of, his hues and colors, just incredible stuff. So excited by all those recommended books. But Deadly Class, this issue did a really good job of giving us a slice of the 80s, to let us really know it's the 80s and not just telling us this is the 80s, but it had the feel of the 80s, which was awesome. Because that's what the book's supposed to be set in, that kind of era. So I think they need to capture that. If you're going to focus that as being part of it, you need to be able to capture it, and they do. BPRD Hell on Earth, number 125. We're going to get this story. Part of this story has to do with Howard. Love the character of Howard, named Howard because of the creator of Conan. We get a little bit of slice of part of his flashback life is really great in here. It looks like the Black Flame is back again. Our Russian compatriot gets himself a new body. All kinds of stuff is building up in it. Currently, the artist on the book is James Herron. I think he does a great job. His stuff is a little caricature, but completely works. You completely know who people are in it and stuff. And of course, masterfully colored by Dave Stewart. As always, I'm looking forward to this arc. Really interesting. It has some geopolitical stuff goes on a little bit in this too. As always, BPRD just is always a solid book. Next is Goners issue number 2, and it is Goners from my pull list. I just can't really get into it. The story is relatively basic, and I just can't get past the big eyes, small mouth styled art. It's not quite anime. It's like it won't pull the trigger to actually be anime. I might actually like it better if it was more of that. But yeah, there's just not enough in here to keep me gripped with it, and I'm just not. It's a basic story, and the story would be more interesting if drawn better than what it was. I just am not digging the art style, so I'm done with it. It's not. Nothing about it intrigues me to hang on to it, so that's one I'm not going to get. One that does intrigue me, but I would never justify or tell anybody else they should be going out and jumping on this book, is Intersect. An incredibly strange book with an incredibly ugly cover. Do not like this cover, but to some degree it represents the art that's inside. But I actually kind of like the pencil watercolors that are inside. I kind of like the movement of the book. It is really strange. All I can tell you is there's at least 2 main characters. One of those main characters either has a split personality or literally their body is morphing between people. Like, you have a female and like the male's head will morph out of the back of his head. At one point in here, I think she technically has the genitalia of both male and female. It's implied in this thing, and there's another individuals with them, and they're running from a group of people or something, and particularly they're running from a dog that seems to clearly have been morphed also. It's monstrous, giant, and devastating. And that's about all I can tell you, is that they're being hunted by something, and that it's got this ultra strange art, and the split personality thing is a bit of a struggle, but it's just really bizarre. Now, do I think this is a great book? I don't know. Right now, I don't know what it is, but it's the right kind of I don't know what it is that has piqued my curiosity. It makes me want to keep reading it and exploring it and finding out what is going to happen in it. And so I'm about ready to sneeze. Excuse me. So I'm going to keep getting it for a while, just because it has my curiosity. It has my interest as far as just being strange and incredibly odd. But I would never tell anybody else to pick this book up, just because it's such a bizarre kind of experience to read it. So we'll see. We'll see in a couple issues. In a couple issues, if stuff starts to gel together, I may look back on this and go, wow, this is brilliant. Or I may look back on this after 4 or 5 issues and go, this was the biggest giant cluster F I've read since Change. and anybody who watched my reviews of that knows that that was kind of a nightmare as it went along. So, yeah, it is what it is. Next up, Synergy, number 1. An image book. I kind of dig the art. Michael Oeming, I've always kind of enjoyed his art. Colors are nice and brilliant. Colors are done by his wife, Taki Soma. Does the colors, and they co-write the story together. The hook of the story is our main character here. She has sex for the first time, loses her virginity, and suddenly she becomes a seer. And the boyfriend that she's losing her virginity to is a demon, a monster. And then she discovers she can see all kinds of monsters. And I guess once you lose your puberty, that's what then determines on whether, that's when it, as opposed to puberty, and suddenly you change and become a seer and can see the stuff. It's sex that does it. So there's our hook. But now it's basically billed as kind of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of a thing. Her father is a seer and a hunter. He wants her to go into the family business, not go to college. Of course, that's not what she really wants to do. And lo and behold, her boyfriend, who she lost her virginity to, yes, is a demon, knew that she was a seer and was trying to suck synergy from her. There's these demons walking around, and of course, I'm assuming the demons all play on different, drawing a blank. What are they called? Laziness, sloth, not virtues. What are the other ones? Vices. There we go. Woo! How about that? They play on the different vices, and there's one in here that's clearly eats 1 million hamburgers, kind of a thing. So glutton that they kill off. But the talking dog, who is a demon, but is a vegetarian basically, and so hangs with the seer. I don't plan on getting any more of these. There just wasn't anything special to it, because past the hook, what is there? It's just another of the same thing that we've seen a bunch of. Not a bad book. If this is the one you want to experience, awesome, experience it. But I've read or watched enough of that stuff that not particularly interested, so not hanging around for that. And finally, of course, the amazing Annihilator issue number 3. Continues to be a brilliant book by Grant Morrison and Fraser Irving. It continues to have this wonderful, to me, feel of a Philip K. Dickian kind of thing. Our main character is this somewhat unhinged, supposedly has brain cancer. He's met the main character from the story he's writing, literally exists, following him around, instructing him on stuff, telling him that if he writes his story fast enough, that it's all the cancer that's in his head is actually a data packet, and if he can get it all out quick enough, he'll be cured of cancer. The FBI's involved, all this craziness. His publisher's involved, and you have to wonder the whole time it's going on, is this future character actually exist, or does he really have a brain tumor, and this is the effects of the brain tumor? He's hallucinating. People get shot in this one. Is he hallucinating and did all this stuff, or is this stuff really happening? Which is the truth here? I mean, what's reality? What's fiction? Walking that kind of bizarre line that some of Phil K. Dick's books like Valis and stuff like that encompassed. So just think that's really cool, really enjoyable. Excited to get the next issues. I want to read this whole thing. It's just been very cool so far, and I'm along for the ride wherever it goes. Just great stuff. Love Fraser Irving's art. I love the mood. I love the tempo that is created with the colors and the panels and the energy. I just really like it. And the story that's being told, the sci-fi aspect of the story that's being told in this future stage setting of this movie that he's writing is just all kind of really cool along the way. And that's it for this week of books. I hope you enjoyed your No Capes books, what all you guys are reading. It's getting to the point now I know I'm not catching everything. What else is out there? I have some Prophet ordered because I know in the past people kept telling me you need to pick up some Prophet. So I have some Prophet ordered. I'm going to be reading some of that here at some point in trade. I'm still not reading The Walking Dead. Just can't quite. It just doesn't grab me in the right way, I guess. What else is out there? What are other people reading that I'm missing out on? Or what am I reading that you read that you have a different take on, or thought was interesting, or did not like, or whatever? Are you reading Annihilator? If you're not reading Annihilator, and you got any interest in that sort of strangeness, get on that book if you can find copies of it. Great stuff. Anyway, have a great one, everybody.